What's up, bro? Nick here, and today we're going to talk about most common mistakes that writers make, and this is kind of like a holistic view of it because I'm currently doing one of the mistakes right now, and that's just, I mean, coaches don't play. I don't know what I'm talking about. But currently, I'm helping my friend write a series of his own, and it started as just like me giving him some like general feedback on his work. Like he would send me over his like first draft or like a good amount of draft to me, and then I would just offer him some general feedback, being like, "Hey, I'll tweak this line right here, and then it could help if you add a little bit more conflict to this scene, or if you elaborate more on something in this scene." Just general stuff like that. And it's been about a year, and it's progressed, and now he considers me a co-writer on this series, which wouldn't be such a bad thing. Only the thing is that never be a co-writer. Like, dog, never be a co-writer. We're currently working on his 7th entry in his series, and it's frustrating because the feedback and the work that I'm submitting for him, like he currently has in his script 20 pages of just like flatness where nothing is going on, where it's like it's a chore for me to get through, and like it feels like it's going to be a chore for the audience if I feel that way. Like if you're reading something, more than likely how it translates to the screen is that like if it feels boring while you read it, then it's going to be boring on the screen. So that's going on. He's not taking my advice on how to spruce up this area, and it's ultimately just going to hurt his product. And with my advice just kind of going out the window on this, I'm wasting my time and time that I could be dedicating on my stories. And it's gotten to a point where it's like, my overarching goal is to be this well-known author, and it's gotten to a point where it's like, my overarching goal is to be this well-known and well-respected author. However, like, I take that seriously, and I don't want my name attached to a project that I just don't believe in because the writing is ultimately hurting it. Like, I feel that anime can have crappy animation, but as long as the story is alright, like, then that's solid. And naturally, it's tough because you want to be a good friend, but taking this seriously and like not treating what you write as a joke, like that's gonna push you from point A to point B. Does that make sense? Moving on, what I would also suggest is to please buy like a small notebook, not like one of those like pocket-sized notebooks that can fit in your pocket, but like this, I don't know what this is, 5x7 or something like that. I bought this in Target because I felt embarrassed walking out of the store without buying anything, so I felt like I had to buy something. So I bought this notebook, and it stayed underneath my bed for like a year or so. And then when I finally started to take my writing seriously, I was like, well, let me just take this with me from point A to point B as I go about places, just in case of like any ideas for like stories or concepts pop up. And I'm trying to do this fast because anyways, I'll flip to the most recent page, but it's like, I'm like halfway through this. Yeah. Like, where is that? Like, I come up with ideas like all the time when I'm in the car, and I'm like, I don't want to pull out my phone and risk the lives of myself and others around me. I didn't write this part out so well in the talking points, so that's it is what it is. And then also, I'm just not feeling it today. Like, taking a notebook with me everywhere where I've gone, like throughout my day, that has been an absolute game changer, because if I have a quick idea, I can just write it down, and I don't really bring my phone a lot of places with me. Like, I'll put it into my car, but it doesn't really come into like stores and whatnot with me. But this, like, being able to just like casually just like jot down a note while you're driving, like, number one, do it safely. Number two, like, it's just kind of, it's like, it's classic. Like, it's timeless. It makes me feel like I'm in like a 65 Stang, like listening to some jazz, cruising down the road, 3-piece suit. What could be more? What could be next? Like, and then I'd also stress to continue learning, because most people get out of school. Like, for example, me, I'm an English major, or I was an English major. I graduated 3 years ago with a degree in English, and it worked out all right. But for like the first 2 years, I didn't do any studying, like any self-development. Like I was working out for about a year or so, but then I quit that, and now I'm back on it. But like I didn't really do anything to self-develop myself, and that just kind of hurt this overarching goal of becoming this like fantastic writer. And this notebook has helped me to keep myself accountable, because like, dog, even though I am whatever, I'm not gonna show you that one. I graduated 2 years ago, and taking this notebook with me has been an absolute game changer, because even though if I'm not like reading like a book on like storytelling and craft and whatnot, like there are still ideas that pop up in my head like as I go throughout my day, and like I feel a bit more safer taking the time to like write out a note while I'm driving, as opposed to like getting on my phone. And then also I feel like I'm less likely to get pulled over, so I feel like that's a plus. But learning doesn't only happen in books, especially for like storytelling. So I'd recommend watching like new movies and new TV shows, because storytelling isn't like a fixed thing. There are rules, or the rules are more like guidelines. And like you can learn all those guidelines, but like exposing yourself to the way that other writers solve like writing problems, like it's like, oh, they did exposition through this manner in this scene, like that is incredibly cool. I never would have thought of that. Like exposing yourself to that by watching new stuff, that is the way it's done. Like that is the most enjoyable way to do it. So that's what I'd recommend. Get good at analyzing scenes like as you watch them, and then also paying attention to how you feel during a scene, being like, oh, this scene is making me feel tense. Why is that happening? Figure that out and you'll do well. All right, I'll see you next time.